this Constitution is the preamble. It is the soul of the Constitution. What are we preserving for ourselves and for our future generations? A peaceful, stable, democratic Namibia. We have succeeded in creating that. We have it.
Welcome, dear viewers. You have tuned into the locally produced TV series called Ask the Mayor, the exclusive One Africa TV platform where you get to ask this country's various mayors and town council representatives questions by sending those questions to the number 555 and then having them answered right here in the studio. At times, our team might also visit your town to hear your questions for your town mayor or town council representative personally. I'm your presenter, Joseph Shifeni. Thank you for joining us. We are continuing this television series with His Worship, the Mayor of the town of Rehoboth, Enrico Juniors, who made time to join us in the studio. Your Worship, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Joseph. Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for inviting me. Thanks listening our viewers as well.
Your Worship, perhaps you can tell us before we get to the public's questions, what would you like to be remembered for once your term as the Mayor of Rehoboth ends?
Firstly, I would like to say it's a challenge as a mayor. I mean, you are responsible. As I said, the Rehoboth inhabitants at this state stands at 60,000. So you are the first citizen of 60,000 people. My main thing is to inspire hope, to give our people hope. When I came in, I made it abundantly clear that two groups that I feel are very vulnerable and that I'm very close to, first of all, our youth, and secondly, our elderly. If we, and more specifically me as a mayor, can bring hope to this group of people to make their lives better for themselves, then I would have achieved my goal. Now, there are certain ways and means of trying to do this. Unemployment for our youth. They don't have a place to stay. They study, all these things. And then our elderly, services to make life as comfortable as possible for them. So that's my challenge as a mayor. But not only that, the whole of town. To make a difference into the lives of people in terms of service delivery, to make them comfortable, and to be proud about the town again. We would like to put Rehoboth back on the map. And as a collective, as all inhabitants, myself as a mayor, and also as councillors, we should come together and work together to make a difference in the lives of each and every citizen in this town.
Now, on to the public's questions. Johannes Kachab wants to know, since taking over the ceremonial leadership position of the town, has the mayor acquainted himself with the situation of the community in the town of Rehoboth, and asked if and when and where meetings were held with the community?
It's a very good question. Firstly, I was just recently re-elected as mayor for the second term, and I'm only in office for 7 months. To answer that question is, we used to have public meetings whereby we invited the public in a town hall format to give feedback to them. Unfortunately, due to COVID, our community hall was used as a COVID center, and therefore we could not have used that place to get our people together to speak to them. But I would also like to say, in answer to that question, I, as a mayor, am on the ground. I'm moving a lot. I'm amongst the people. Whenever we've got a visit from the ministers or deputy ministers, we travel town, we speak to people. We've got various functions whereby we invite the town to come and speak to us. But on a formal basis, due to COVID regulations, we were bound by numbers. I think it was 10, and thereafter it was 50. We could not have arranged for the people to come together to have a community meeting whereby we can talk to the community. But I do have a radio program with a local radio station in Rehoboth where I do give regular feedback back to the listener, to the people, the listeners, the inhabitants of town. But lastly, me as a mayor, I have an open door policy. Anybody can come and see me, make an appointment, my office is open, come see me, we discuss problems. But as I've said, early in the new year, we will start again with a formal program where we will give an opportunity for our people to come and talk to us, ask questions, and whereby we can also relay our issues to them as a community.
Johannes, again, also wants to know, since the last time you were here, in our interview, you mentioned there's some big investment opportunities coming to the town of Rehoboth, and he wants to know how such initiatives will curb unemployment in the town of Rehoboth.
Unemployment is one of the biggest problems in our town. The only way we can create jobs is by inviting investors to come and invest in town with projects whereby we can employ our own people. We started with several programs. The first of all, we are availing land to a private investor whereby we're going to build 250 houses in Rehoboth. We are just waiting for ministerial approval, then this project will start. Rehoboth is a town of builders, but it will not only create jobs, it will also help business in town whereby they can locally supply. We are talking bricks, we are talking sand, we are talking all these things that you use to build these houses. Like I said, 250 houses will be built. Secondly, we are in the process of establishing a solar plant for electricity in town. That's also going to create jobs for our people. Thirdly, Rio Spa is going to be opened very soon. We've went into a 50-50 partnership with a private contractor whereby they're going to pump 40 million into the Rio Spa project to have Rio Spa up and running again. It is one of the prerequisites that they should only employ local people where necessary. And not only that, but also to upgrade the skills, to give training to our people. Skills training for ourselves to better our education and also our skills level. Then a VTC is going to be built just outside of town, whereby we will give education, vocational training to our locals, to better their skills, to be employable. And then lastly, also a hospital is going to be built in town very soon. A state-of-the-art hospital, more or less on the level of Lady Bohamba private hospital, whereby job will be created, firstly, building the place, and then secondly, employ our local people as well, as nurses, as sisters, and even our doctors to come back to Rehoboth. All these things are in process, but really, me as a mayor, and I think I speak on behalf of my council as well, we are open for investment opportunities.
Let's go for a quick commercial break, and when we get back, we will be looking at more questions from you for the Rehoboth mayor.
It's the festive season and we love it. And that means it's time to celebrate with GoTV.
Well, that's good news.
So get your GoCoda, GoTenna, and GoTV Plus from only $399 to watch with the whole family. And if you're feeling extra festive, upgrade to our best package yet, GoTV Super.
Amazing.
Download the My GoTV app for more information.
Super.
We all deserve a super festive season.
Perfect for you.
And with GoTV, there's every reason to love it.
Welcome back. You are watching Ask the Mayor. Your Worship, a resident by the name Sarah Garwes says the street lights in town don't work. What is being done about this problem?
I don't want to go too far into the past. When we took over, we tried really hard in a short space of time to put things back on where they should be. I think there was a neglect previously pertaining to services, the street lights, the roads. So it's impossible for us as a council. Like I said, I'm only 7 months in. Councillors are only there for a year. In 1 year, we could not have completed all our programs that we started with. But part of my mayoral project, which I've started about 3 months ago, was to fix the street lights. But as I've said, the backlog is so huge that it's going to take some time to fix all the lights. But I would also like to say as a mayor that the safety and security of the citizens of Rehoboth is paramount to me. I feel for the people that must walk in the dark or go out in the dark when street lights are not working. It is not acceptable, I can say that. But it's a problem all over town. So at this stage, we started with a program, myself as a mayor, as a mayoral project, whereby we are fixing street lights. And people, I think they've seen the difference. We even put up Christmas carols now, just to brighten up our town, to lift our spirits. But we are in the process of looking into this to fix the street lights. And we started, like I said, in part of town. We are carrying on. We are fixing the main areas at this stage. But although I must admit, there are also certain areas that really, really need to be addressed. And I'm going to look into it very soon. As I've said, safety and security of our people is paramount to me. So that early in the new year, we're going to really start to, by June next year, fix all the lights. But I think the inhabitants will agree, and even they drive past with the B1, they've noticed that even all the lights amongst the B1, they are working. They didn't work before. We fixed them. They are working. Big parts of town has been fixed. They are working. But I agree, and I apologize that some parts of town has not been addressed, but we are in the process of doing it. Early in the new year, it's also going to be my very, very first priority to fix our street lights. But thanks for the question, and it is a valid question, and I apologize once again.
All right, Your Worship. Lorraine Brown is asking a question regarding land delivery. And she wants to know who is responsible for the Erven in Rehoboth, adding that she always applies for one but never gets one, while other people who own multiple Erven that they are selling to others, while so many don't have Erven.
When I came in as a mayor, I've noticed this tendency that there used to be questions of nepotism, whereby people feel that some others are advantaged and others not. I've started a system whereby we've got a waiting list. That waiting list is from our housing department, it's with me as a mayor, and also with all councillors. So if you apply, you go onto a waiting list. We start from 1, goes up to 700, 702. So there's no ways that number 1 can become 13 and that number 103 can become number 2. I'm not saying it used to be in the past, but I'm saying that's been stopped. It's not happening anymore. So each and everybody can come in, you apply for an earth. Then you come onto this waiting list, and then we allocate land accordingly. As I said before, when we came in as a council, there used to be the recorder report, whereby we were obliged to give Irvin, as per a government directive, to people that's been waiting from 1996, 2000, 2010, 2015 on these Irvin. And there was a backlog of 3,000 Irvin. So when we started, we could not allocate new Irvin because we need to eradicate that list first. We started with that list, and that was ongoing, like I said, for 30 years already. But we as a council, we took it onto ourselves. We've started and we've allocated the first 150. We into the process of, before December, allocating 750. Thereafter, we're going to deliver 1,500. And lastly, we're going to fulfill that list of 3,000 people to at least help them that was on that waiting list for so long. Thereafter, we're going to start with new applications, the people that put on their names on the waiting list.
Moving on, Your Worship, Christian Cooper, he wants to explains that the municipality says that some of the prepaid water meter installed are defective or that the batteries are flat. So they were removed and replaced with normal water meters. He now asks who made the decision and whether they will be refunded.
That's one of the questions that I get regularly from persons pertaining to water meters. Now, I'll be open about this. At this stage, it's a problem. Not only for us as a council, as administration, and also for our inhabitants. We've got a contract with our current supplier that's going to run out at February next year. We are looking at a system whereby we can get a better quality water meter, firstly. Secondly, a meter that can be repaired. At this stage, you buy your meter, it becomes your own. If it's faulty, you need to buy a new meter. And there are lots and lots of questions. We are busy sourcing from outside company, like I said, a better quality meter, firstly. Secondly, a cheaper meter, and then a meter that can be repaired. Now, pertaining to the question of refunding, if we are selling the water meters at this stage to the inhabitants, so you buy the meter, it becomes yours. So if this meter is faulty, it's beyond repairs, then you need to replace it, unfortunately. As I've said, it's a system that's been coming on. So there's nothing we as a council can do. The meter is yours. People say that they gave the meter back to council workers, which is not the right procedure. Preferably, if you buy a new one, keep the old one and let them install a new meter. But as I've said, we are looking into that. So there is no refund for the meter. Some people move away from prepaid into a conventional meter. But we don't want to advise that to our people. We would like to put Rehoboth as a whole onto a prepaid water meter. However, you will buy your water, then you get water. We also need to pay NEM water. So if we can get our money in up front, we can pay NEM water accordingly. So that's the preferred road to go, is prepaid water meters. But to answer it in short is, there's no refund. And secondly, it's your own meter. You buy it, you pay it off to council into a once-off, or we have a system whereby you pay it off monthly installments. But at the end of the day, it's your meter. But I agree, there are lots and lots of problems with these meters whereby they break down in a 2 years down. They should have a 5-year working span, but unfortunately, it's not happening. But we are busy addressing this, getting a better quality meter to service our people better. But 90% of questions I have on a daily basis is about this very, very same water meters.
Water meters.
No.
Right. We still have a lot of questions to be answered by His Worship, the Mayor of the town of Rehoboth, Enrico Juniors. But first, let's go for another break before we get to that.
When life gets boring, we bring out our play, because playfulness is in our DNA. It's in the way we freestyle and smile. We add color to every day and delicious drink. We're the ones who add color to every moment. Fanta, color every moment.
Here's to the bras who enjoy responsibly, the ones who know their limits.
Nah, bruh, I'm good.
Here's to the ladies who pace themselves in between drinks, the ones who can still kill it on the dance floor, the ones who are still the life of the party. Here's to the chummies who don't drink when they drive, the ones who happily take the keys for you.
No, Tommy. We're the designated drivers tonight.
Be the one. Pace yourself. Know the limits. Don't drink and drive. Brought to you by Namibia Breweries Limited.
Welcome back to Ask the Mayor, your exclusive platform here on One Africa TV, where we get to have a sit-down with mayors and town council representatives from across the country, answering questions posted by the public. If you just joined us, we are here in the studio with His Worship, the Mayor of the town of Rehoboth, Enrico Juniors. Your Worship, Frederica Scriver, like some other residents, says the municipality cuts the residents' water and electricity without notification or consultation, other than through the media. But not everyone has a TV or a radio. What is your response to that?
Now, this is a very easy question to answer. I'll start from the start. I would like to appeal to our residents. We are going through difficult times, but please pay your services on time. It's a common thing all over the world. If you don't pay for services, it gets cut. That's the first thing. Then secondly, we've started on a program whereby we advise our inhabitants which areas we're going to cut. But the main thing is you should pay. Don't wait till it's been cut. Then you want to come and pay, make arrangements. But we are through the media, mainly the radio and also social media, we're trying to advise our inhabitants when are we going to cut specific areas. But people should be aware, you need to pay your services so then you don't have to worry whether it's going to be cut. But still, we do a campaign through the radio and also through the social media where we advise our people that we cut certain areas. But it's not always possible to go out beforehand. If you cut the whole of the town, people go to one area and then go to another. But me as a mayor and us as councillor, we don't always know exactly where they're going to start cutting services. But it's a very bad thing for people. And then they wait till it's been cut before they want to come and make arrangements and come to pay. But if you can't pay, I would also like to appeal to our residents. If you have difficult times, come beforehand. We are always willing to listen. If you come to us and say, I can only pay $500 or whatever, then we make arrangements for you to pay off. Then you don't go onto their cutting list. The problem is once you are cut, there are additional costs incurred because people need to go in the vehicle, go and cut. So my advice to people is come and talk to us before it is necessary to cut. Secondly, pay for your services, but we will do all our best to advise people more or less when are we going to cut areas.
Frederica, again on electricity, says that electricity tariffs are high, adding that when she buys electricity for $50 Namibian, she only gets $20 Namibian worth of power. She wants to know, where does the rest of her money go?
That's also a very topical issue specifically now. People must understand we are bound by tariffs advertised in the official gazette. So we are prescribed by our Ministry of Urban and Rural Development, on how much we must charge. So it's not a question of us waking up one day as a River Town Council and deciding we must charge $2.50 per unit. That's prescribed as gazetted in the official government gazette and prescribed by the ministry. Then secondly, we've got the Electricity Control Board that controls fees. NEM Power negotiates with them, and that's being passed on to us through the Electricity Control Board, how much we should charge. So that perception that we as councillors have the authority to put up or down fees, that's completely wrong. The fees in the Riobert are amongst the highest. I'll be also open about this. But we are in the process of addressing this. The very first thing that we decided on is to try to go solar. We all know that solar power is very, very cheap. We've got a tender closing on the 15th of December, whereby we would like to bring in an independent solar supplier that will supply part of our electricity to town, which will be less cheaper. That we will have a control on. So that's one part of the problem. The second thing is the water. We are dependent on fees being charged by NEM Water. Now, Riobert has had boreholes for years. We are looking into the process of rehabilitating these boreholes and supply our own water. I can say that publicly that towns like Omaruru, Chumeb, and Bersaba, they've started with their own water supply system whereby they supply their own water and does not go through NEM Water, which is very, very cheaper. Because the thing with boreholes, you don't have to purify the water. We've got the Oanab Dam just outside of town. And NEM Water, I understand, they need to subtract the water, purify it, and then supply it to town. That's why our tariffs are amongst the highest in Riobert, in Namibia. But the last thing I would like to mention is that people complained from November onwards. We experienced that people only paid their water and electricity, which they are on prepaid, then they don't pay for sewage, refuge, and all these additional services. So we brought in a system, if you buy prepaid water, then we charge you also the first payment of those services. We as a council must also get money in to sustain those services. So that's why it became important. But people noticed that change. If you buy your prepaid water, initially, at the beginning, these services are subtracted automatically on your payment. That's why you get less units than you used to get before on that.
We're actually running out of time, Your Worship. Perhaps, last but not least, can you tell us about your vision for the southern town of Riobert?
My vision is to make Riobert a model town again. And the potential is there. As I've said, we've got water, we've got land. Once you have that, you can grow. But I need the assistance from not only my council, but also from administrative staff and also from the inhabitants of a town. I can't do it on my own as a mayor. I've got a vision, I've got plans, but in the execution thereof, I need the assistance from the people in town. As I've said, we are attracting investors. And it surprised me how many people are willing to invest in Rehoboth because the close proximity to Windhoek, where they can move their products. We are in the process of attracting many investors that are prepared to invest in Rehoboth. Only through that we can create opportunities for people to get job opportunities, to get the money to spend, and to uplift themselves. But it's not going to be a short-term thing. We are in this together, and I'm asking the patience of the town to support me in whatever projects we embark on. Let us stick together. Let us grow this town to be a model town, as I've said. The potential is there.
Your Worship, I would like to thank you very much for joining me today, sir.
Yeah. In closing, I would like to thank you for the opportunity as well. I would like to wish not only the inhabitants of Rehoboth, but also the whole of Namibia a Merry Christmas. We just came out of a very difficult time with this COVID pandemic, but I'm sure we survived through all this, and I'm sure we're going to survive through all these tribulations. All the best for each and everybody. Prosperous New Year and a Merry Christmas once again.
And that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you very much for joining us. And from me, Joseph Shifeni, it's goodbye.
Prevention is important. Help prevent the spread of illness and keep yourself and others well. Hand washing is one of the most effective ways of preventing the spread of germs. Wash your hands regularly with soap and hot water, scrubbing your hands thoroughly for at least 20 seconds. Hand sanitizers can be used but are not recommended as a substitute for hand washing. Use sanitizers in addition to hand washing or in a situation where soap and water are not available. To avoid spreading germs, limit sharing of personal items such as utensils, cups, and dishes. Your skin acts as a barrier to germs, but your eyes, nose, and mouth are more vulnerable. Wash your hands thoroughly before touching your face, eating, or drinking. Avoid physical contact with others, including handshakes, fist bumps, high fives, hugs, and kisses. Social distancing is deliberately increasing the physical space between people to avoid spreading germs. While regulations may vary by country or area, the best guideline for social distancing is to maintain a distance of 6 feet from others. Germs can travel through the air from one person to another. If you sneeze or cough, do so into a tissue or the inside of your elbow to prevent the spread of germs. Avoid contact with ill individuals and insist they isolate themselves until they have recovered and are symptom-free. Clean and sanitize frequently touched common surfaces and high-traffic areas in your home and workplace several times a day. Share these guidelines with others and help prevent the spread of illness and maintain a healthy environment. An ounce of prevention is worth a ton of cure.
We know the world is a crazy place right now, but don't panic. Take a breath, slow down, or better yet, stop completely. We'll still be here when everything settles down. In this time of uncertainty, look to nature. She has all the answers, you know. We're not only giving ourselves time to reset, we're giving nature time to restore,